The largest slum in the world is Warangi from Pakistan. And if you ask me, okay, what would be the largest slum and where it would be in the entire universe, I would say it would be in Mars. But you might ask me like, okay, we don't even have humans there. How can there be a slum? And there could be in the future. Welcome to askraghulan. Thank you for all the love and support. If you like my videos, subscribe to the channel. And this video is sponsored by armorado.com. You can find a lot of cool products into it. If you're doing traveling, touring, trekking, adventure sport, you might find it. And also, when humans set foot on Mars the very first time, they will be wearing Armorado gear. We are working on some patents for the last 6 years. Take a look at it and follow us, and you might actually find something interesting in the coming future. Okay, we're talking about slums. Of course, there is the largest slum in Pakistan, but every country has a slum. Australia might have some areas which can be considered as a slum. Same with the US and UK, and every other country will have some sort of formation of slum. And slum is not something as bad as it's been portrayed in Slumdog Millionaire and all these movies. Of course, hygiene and civic sense can be improved wherever we live. Doesn't matter. It is proportional to the money that we earn. That is something we could improve. But apart from that, slum is not something bad as shown in the movies. It's actually something great, because without slums, many of us wouldn't even exist. To give a little glimpse about it, because I will do a separate video about slums, but this one is like, the slum is basically, it makes a complete circle, a complete life cycle. So it means like, let's say if you're earning 10,000 rupees a month, you can find a place to live and you can actually feed yourself and you can pay the bills. And let's say you start earning now like 1 lakh per month. So what you do, will you stay in the same place? No, you actually upgrade. You upgrade your lifestyle. And now you make like around 1 crore a month. You upgrade your lifestyle. Now you become a billionaire and the richest man in the world. You will upgrade your lifestyle and you get the biggest mansion, you get all the sports cars, you do everything just fine. What if everything is gone? You're going to come back down. So now let's say you are earning again like around 50,000 a month. Now you will find a place where you can afford it and you can actually go and have some food and things like that. But now what if in a scenario where you are not able to make the minimum money to support yourself, and also you're not physically fit enough to take care of yourself? Now that is the time social security come into place. But unfortunately, many countries will not have a social security to the expected level to support ourselves. Now what will happen? If you're not economically able to support yourself, technically you're becoming homeless. You can't feed yourself, you can't pay the bills, you can't pay the rent, and then you're not fit enough or unwell. Now what would you do? And technically when you're rich, you might have a lot of people that might really love you unconditionally. But when you're poor, unfortunately, sometimes even your own blood relations may not love you. And that is a true fact. Now what if you're in that situation? That is a situation where slum helps you to rebuild yourself. Slum helps you to reboot yourself. And also it gives a platform for you to live with whatever you have. If you have the lowest income in the whole city, you can actually find a place to live in the slum. And you can actually find food that you can eat. You can find friends. You can find a social supporting network. And people support each other in that one. That is basically the greatness of slums. Without slums, many of us wouldn't be here. Many billionaires wouldn't be here. And most of the successful companies who built their products and solution on top of a major problems have studied their problem from the slums. So we'll talk about that in a separate video. But now, why I talk about slum is because Mars is going to be the slum of the human civilization in the near future. Not near future, probably in another 100 to 200 years or something. But that is not going to happen straight away. But even now, I might actually say something very contrasting, right? Because most of the time, whenever we hear about Mars, it is coming from NASA, it is coming from European Space Agency, it is coming from ISRO, and it is all coming from all premium institutions from all the governments around the world. And companies like SpaceX, all billion-dollar companies, are talking about Mars. Now, when all of these powerful companies and all prestigious institutions involved in having a future in Mars, how can there be a slum? But that is going to be the exact problem going to be, because right now, even though we are talking about all these premium institutions talking about Mars missions and having a human colony in Mars, but you have to think about one thing. Most people think that, okay, this is all pretty nice and fancy stuff, only a billionaire can afford it. But what would a billionaire do there? Let's say you consider a billionaire yourself, and what would you do on a daily basis? Will you be working hard under a mine? No, you'll be traveling around to meet your friends and party. You'll be flying in a private jet. You will have your private yacht, and you will have a sports car, and you'll drive around it, and you have a beautiful mansion with a lot of facilities and features. You can get everything that you want from your doorstep. That's basically a life of a billionaire. Now imagine the same guy who's going to be in Mars. It doesn't even have a natural scenic view. Consider like any place around the world, and you can find a lot of beautiful colors around it, a lot of greeneries, waterfalls, and beautiful animals and exotic places. And you have plenty of things that you can look around in the current world that we live in. But if you go to Mars, it's all in single color. So it's all in like the same color shades. It's a red planet, and what colors you're going to find other than red? And then what fun a billionaire could do with it? Might be the most depressing place. Like you living in a bunker underground, and you can't even go out because of radiation, of the harsh winds and low atmosphere atmospheric pressure and low gravity and all. You can't drive your sports car, of course, and you can't party. You can't get everything that you want. You're not going to have the best in the world, best in the universe medical support or medical care. Why would a billionaire go there? And now that's exactly the problem. Now what would happen is there is going to be a stage by stage approach. Stage 1 is basically people will make Mars a very fancy place to go, fancy place to have a dream, fancy place to have our own new life. And that is basically all set by all premium institutions, all the governments, all the big agencies and stuff, private companies and all. And the second thing is like right now a person to go to Mars, it's very expensive. It's around $200,000. And of course we can't go, but again the mission is going to cost you that much. But technically that is not the cost that a person going to bear. It's not the cost for the billionaire. It is cost the company saying that it is going to charge for other companies to ship their workers. Because right now if you get a job in some place in a different country, and if the company is in a dire need to have your skill set, they will obviously pay for your flight tickets, right? They will obviously pay for your relocation. They will obviously pay for your living expense or something for few months and things like that to lure you to go and do that work. And the work might be pretty harsh, and that's why no one is doing it. So they were giving you all these benefits. So that's the same thing that we're going to do it. And now that is a cost that we're looking at it, while space is something not reachable in many of the hands. It's still in a premium spot. Now what would happen? Technically any civilization at level 1 civilization, based on the energy consumption, we scale levels. The level 1 civilization will consume all the energy within the same planet they live in. So we started with coal and wood and whale oil and all that sort of stuff. Then we started digging around, and then we got crude oil, and then we started getting energy from hydropower and solar and wind and geo and wave energy and all that sort of stuff. Technically we are harnessing power. Now we are trying to get power from nuclear fission and fusion and all that clean energy and pure energy and perpetual energy kind of thing also we are trying. But technically that is level 1, because our energy needs is going to keep growing as we grow to a bigger species. Now what happens is to be a level 2. We'll start becoming interplanetary. So you go to another planet, you establish a colony, you'll start extracting resources and things like that. And then at the time what you're going to do as you travel between planets and things like that, you're also going to colonize a lot of different places. And then one of the things that you're going to do is like build mega structures around your own star. In our case it's a sun. That's called Dyson sphere. We have spotted a possible Dyson sphere in another star, and we're still analyzing it. We haven't got a complete proof of it, but there is a very high chances there is a Dyson sphere in another star, which is built by another super alien species maybe. So now what would happen is like we'll go to level 2 civilization where we'll start occupying Mars, and then we'll go to level 3 civilization where we start sucking out energy from the whole galaxy rather than just from a single star, from black holes to all massive giant stars and things like that. Now this is basically evolution, but for that the most important thing is the survival of the species, to prolong our survival to that extent to that we become a very advanced race in the near future. Now for that to happen, it is very must and important that we actually establish a colony outside of Earth so that we don't get destroyed like dinosaurs, and we will actually lure people into Mars. Most of the people going to go there is not for vacation or tourism or anything like that. It is going to be purely for extracting resources and building Mars. And Mars to become like Earth is going to take, it's going to take plenty of time. And people might say that, argue that, we're going to have a plan for thermoforming the planet. But trust me guys, most of the things that you have today, let's say we take a headset today, and this is sometimes, it was just a dream, it was a vision for someone. Then what happened was like it was a scientific problem, how to actually convert sound energy to electrical energy and then convert back into sound energy. That was a scientific problem. We were theorizing all that. Then once we solve the scientific problem, then we have to solve the engineering problem, how to manufacture this one so that it works in the way that how the science problem we solved it, we use the same way to solve the engineering problems. But technically from a scientific problem standpoint, once we solved it to engineering problem, it looks like a pretty long time. Making Mars to look like Earth, it's close to impossible, and it's going to be like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years away. So technically billionaires are not going to look at Mars as the most attractive space. They will still buy land, they will make money of real estate of it, but that's not the place they're going to enjoy it. They might actually visit for once in a while, but not a place. But what would happen to Earth? Earth would be the place for the billionaires. Earth has got everything. Earth has got beautiful climate, beautiful sceneries, and exotic animals, and we are in control of complete Earth. We are the topmost species. We are on the top of the food chain, and we have complete infrastructure almost in every country. Now, how do you make the population? What would do with the existing poor population? One is like we can ship them to Mars because they don't have life here. We can give them good jobs there so that we can ship them to Mars. That's first thing. And second thing is like whatever who stays here, depopulate them. So we have COVID, which already done the job pretty decently. society. And apart from that, we have several options to depopulate. So one is like breaking of families and marriages, which many organizations are doing it under the carpet. So once we do that, there is not going to be much babies. Even now in Japan, there are plenty of schools they have closed. A lot of primary schools they have closed. And South Korea is dropping in population like something. And Japan is dropping in population. A lot of countries are actually declining in population. So even China is actually declining in population. They are encouraging people to have more babies and things like that. At the end of the day, what would happen? So, once the poor all migrated to Mars, then all they have to do is depopulate the rest of the earth and just keep the small one for the working population to run everything fine. And then earth will be filled with millionaires and billionaires who can afford to live in this paradise. So it's just my vision, guys. It's just my theory. You may not agree to it, but I'm hoping to see some intelligent comments and then we can learn from each other. Okay, keep the comments all polite. It's all fun and easy. Exchange knowledge. Okay, thanks guys and cheers.